Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. In the name of God, the most gracious, most merciful. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu, my brothers and sisters, and welcome to this evening's program. We're going to continue talking about the Quran and its amazing abilities to transform your life. Before we do that, we give thanks and praise to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for allowing us to come into your homes to bring you these messages of hope, happiness, peace, love and well-being, and that we may remind you of the favours that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has bestowed on you. As you know, these talks and programs are about what it's like to be a spiritual person living in this physical reality. If what I quote does not match up with the version of the Quran that you have, it may be that you have got a different translated edition. And so today we are going to continue talking about the Quran, just to really build up your ideas and excitement about turning to the Quran for all your guidance and seeking out its hidden wisdom beneath the many layers of beautiful rhythmic verses that are available to those people who read it. And the Quran is one of those books. It's jam-packed. It's got so much information in there, and you can apply that information to any situation in your life. It's one of the most advanced spiritual books that you will ever come across. I mean, it's got information that even has still yet to be uncovered, not by science, but by being spiritually aware. Not even by the intellect as well, because the Quran goes much further. And when you read the Quran, it also teaches you how to become far greater than you even possibly believed you are. And so this is one of the amazing mysteries that you will find within the verses of the Quran. It's a guide and it's a help, and it is a book that has been truly divinely inspired. And one of the beauties of the Quran is that it came down from the highest of the heavens, and it came into our world through the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, and it was revealed and shared among everybody. And you know what we have today is as well as the translated versions of the Quran, there's still the Arabic that is there as well that can be read. And so this is what makes the Quran amazing. And because it came down from the heavens, where do you think the best place to look for the wisdom within the Quran is? Well, the Quran is about a journey back to the hereafter. So it all comes down to which direction do you focus your attention. When you're reading the Quran and you come across certain verses, is your focus of attention directed towards the material world? Or do you translate its wisdom according to inspiration, according to a journey that takes you back home? One journey that takes you back home is a journey of meditation, or the Islamic name for meditation is Muraqabah. And it's a journey into your own inner self. And as you journey into your own inner self, you come across who you really are. Forget about all the external expressions, but you will come across your own darkness and your own light, or the good and the bad that exists within us. And then it is your job or your work to learn to transform yourself so that you can hold yourself in a state of unconditional love, and also hold yourself in a higher state of conscious awareness. And you do that through meditation. And then when you start to look and apply the verses of the Quran, this is when you start to see a different understanding. And instead of focusing on the external world and trying to fit the external world into the verses of the Quran, you start to look within yourself. You go beyond the everyday thoughts that you have about this physical reality, and you take a journey into the depths of your own inner self, because this is where the real magic, the real wisdom comes from. So as you seek to uncover the wisdom of the Quran, this is when you'll really truly start to find an amazing truth that exists within you, but it also exists within the verses of the Quran. So you relate your inner journey to how you feel externally. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu, my brothers and sisters, and welcome back. You are listening to Radio Mac, broadcasting on 107.1 FM, and I'm your host Asif Sabah, live in the studio, and we're continuing our conversation about how the Quran, how the wisdom of the Quran can inspire you and transform you on your journey through this world, and that it's through the inspiration that comes to you. You know, people forget that their thoughts that they have within their own minds are not all their own thoughts. We are continually inspired by awareness that comes from outside of our own brains. In other words, our brains don't create everything that we think about. And as you know, there's some verses in the Quran that tell you about how Iblis, or the devil, or the Dajjal, whispers into the hearts of humanity to lead them astray. Well, what about the other side as well? Too many people dwell on the negative side, not because it doesn't exist, but because of their own negative thinking. But what about the other side? Why don't people dwell more about or more on the angelic side? That you also have angels that come and whisper wise words of wisdom into your mind. Just like you get the darkness whispering, you get the light also giving you that additional advice. But when anything mystical happens around us, what's the first reaction? Well, it is usually based on a negative perception. Oh, it's a jinn that's doing this. But angels also come in to inspire you on your journey. And this is where you need to also focus your consciousness, focus your attention, and realize if you did not have certain spiritual experiences in your life, you would not believe. And that's true. For those who have had a certain experience that they don't know, or they can't understand, or they think, well, what was that? You know, it's not always about it being a negative experience, but sometimes you will have spiritual experiences to let you know that there is more to life than the material structural foundation that you have built your life on up to now. But most people, they turn away from such experiences and blame it on something else, instead of looking to the positive and saying, okay, now I am aware, because that experience, it's changed my life. It's presented me with something that is outside of the normal conditioning that has been forced upon me, let's say, or has impacted me, or the conditioning that I have been told exists in other people's lives. So certain experiences you will have in your life are there to let you know that there is another side to everything that is taking place in your life. That these spiritual experiences happen to wake you up from your sleep, to get you to consider that there is so much more to life. And you are more than the physical body and this physical reality. That you do have this spiritual self, this spiritual side of yourself that detects things that are outside of the realms of the 5 physical senses. See, the 5 physical senses are just about this world, where you have extrasensory perceptions that expand you beyond this physical reality. And it brings into your awareness an additional understanding, an additional set of beliefs, so that when you read the wisdom of the Quran, you will not see it with a focus of attention that is just based on this physical reality, but you will be looking for something else, that special something that you know exists, but because of all the negativity that people have enshrouded around certain experiences in your life, you've also been forced mentally to block it out or look the other way and try to cut it out of your mind and say, well, it didn't really happen, it was all my imagination. But was it really your imagination? Or was it something else, external to you, that's bringing you information of a spiritual nature into your life to waken you up and make you look beyond the physical reality? These are the questions that will arise in your mind when you think about the things that you've experienced in your life and the real reality that people present to you as the reality. But there is so much more beyond what you have known. And you'll be surprised at what is actually in the Quran. And this is why I always say, read the Quran in a language that you understand, because then you'll get the full impact of the wisdom from the verses, and it will teach you things that nobody else can really teach you, because your experiences will open you up. And then when you read the Quran, you'll see different things. And when someone says, oh, well, this is what this means, but then when you go back and read it, you will see something different and say, well, what about this and this and this and this? Because this is what happened to myself, you know, and so you will understand the Quran in so many different ways. And this is what this program is all about, trying to get you to look not only at the external understanding But there is a more spiritual understanding relating to the wisdom of the Quran. That is, a lot of it is yet to be unraveled. I mean, I have written a book called Self-Help Guide to Meditation and the Quran, and it takes you on a different journey. So for those people who are looking for something beyond the physical reality, and they've got that inner feeling, that inner knowing, that inner pulling them towards a different direction because they want more than what they've been given, then this book is perfect for you. It's a book about going within yourself, seeing what is there, and allowing the wisdom of the Quran to truly guide you on a pathway that takes you into the depths of your soul, but also expands your awareness. And it's through this expansion in awareness that you will begin to notice so much wisdom in the Quran, and that the Quran can take you on an incredible journey, not only into the depths of your own inner self that goes beyond the everyday thoughts that we have based on the structural setup of this world and the earning of money. You see, everything we learn about this world, the main goal is to build up a bank account. But what if there was another journey? A journey that is less travelled. And the Quran talks about this, how the majority of people follow the common run of those on earth, the Quran states. But there's another journey, that journey that truly takes you into the inner depths of your own self and uncovers a treasure trove of wisdom and understanding that you can use as you work in this world. There are spiritual laws that affect all of us, and you can learn to use those spiritual laws to elevate your consciousness as you seek true guidance. Because all true guidance, where do you think it comes from? Okay, you see other people doing external things, but those real feelings come from within yourself. However, if you fill your mind up with the clutter of the ways of the world, it leaves little room for what is really important in your life. It leaves little room. What is it that's important? You will only find the answers when you go beyond the structural setup that we have created about life in this physical reality. How do you do that? You close your eyes, you sit in peace and quiet, and you allow yourself to enter your own inner sacred mosque, that inner place within you. You have to push yourself beyond the everyday thoughts that you have about life in this world. And this structural setup that we've set up as a way of life will try its best to block your view of this inner sacred space, this inner sacred place within you. It will try its best. You'll have all sorts of thoughts running through your mind, trying to say, wait, don't go there, don't do this. You know, it'll throw shopping lists in front of you. It'll throw problems in front of you. It'll throw situations in front of you, all in a bid to stop you from accessing that inner sacred place within you. And if you do not pursue and be determined, you will never move beyond that you will never move beyond the everyday thoughts of the world and enter that inner sacred space. It's like you're always at the entrance, but you never go into that place. It's like you're always sat at the door, but you're afraid to open the door. So allow yourself to look within yourself, but go beyond the everyday thoughts that you have about life in this world, and truly get to know yourself as a spiritual person. And you can do this as you read the wisdom within the verses of the Quran. Don't just read the Quran, but ponder about its meaning. And this is when the wisdom of the Quran will inspire and transform your life. But don't forget, it's not about what everybody else is doing. Your journey is an individual journey into the depths of your own self. It's not about what everybody else is doing. This is your journey, because you will appear before Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bare and alone. You know these things. When you are called to account, you won't be called to account for all the things that other people have done directly, but you will be called to account for the things that you did. And you will read and see your record. And so this is why when you go beyond the everyday thoughts, ask yourself this question. Do you really believe that the thoughts about the life in this world are the highest of truths? You'll find that you have to go beyond the everyday thoughts to truly find out who you really are. You have to go beyond the everyday thoughts to get to know yourself, not according to the external activities that you see taking place in the world, but what is going on internally. Because you will carry that load with you when you return home to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. All that load, all the thoughts of the world will be carried by you into the next world. But what good are they, is the question. Those thoughts you have about this world are just here to assist you. They aren't everything you need to know. There is so much more you need to know and you need to learn to move you forward on your journey through this world. There's a whole ocean of information and inspiration to help you. And inspiration hasn't stopped coming into this world. Inspiration is happening right now in your life if you but listen. The angels will be there whispering and advising you on how best to walk your pathway. If you turn away from the inspiration that you know is coming from your angels, is it that you have now turned your back on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and the guidance that his angels are bringing to you? Because it's the same thing. when you turn your back on the expression of true unconditional love for your brothers, then it's like turning your back on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and following all these other thoughts that we've created as we interact with the physical reality. But you know, you should never turn your back on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, because you will be guided in the wrong direction. So by listening to the real wisdom of your inner self that is put there by the angels that are guiding you, those suggestions that you know is the right thing to do, but conditionally you turn away because your conditioning has told you to follow these thoughts instead of those thoughts that are better for you. So think about that. It's not just a matter of ignoring certain thoughts, but those thoughts that you ignore, is it that they come from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? And you turn your back on the guidance of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that you know you should be following. Because it will come into your mind, it will come into your life to help you on your journey. And that's only something between you and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Only you and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala know. You know when you turn your back on the inner truth that comes to guide you. And so does Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And so do your angels. They see that you turn your back. But they'll never ever stop giving you that opportunity to guide you to the truth. Because your angels want you to succeed. They may step back a little bit so that you can learn certain lessons, but they will always be in your sight. Because they have your heart's desires at their centres as well. And your true heart's desire is to find your way home to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But we make mistakes. But it's through our mistakes that we also learn. So where are you at this present time in your life? Always ask certain questions because they will help you. Where are you at your present time in your life? Are you still turning your back on the guidance of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that comes into your mind like inspiration? That is the question. So this is why it's so important to pay attention, to listen to the wisdom and the guidance that comes into your mind. Because that could be a suggestion from your guardian angel. Because they do descend from time to time to bring you that which you need to guide you on your journey. And they are behind your guidance. However, they will not interfere with your free will. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given us free will. And the angels will not interfere with that choice. Because they know through those choices that you make, you will learn one way or another. And so this is where the power of the Quran and its wisdom can at least help you and be a guide for you and keep you focused on what is important. But don't overdo it. You don't have to overdo it. All you have to do is open your heart in love. That's it. And follow the wisdom that love brings into your soul. Follow that wisdom, and it will help you. It will heal you from the inside outwards. For love is a healing expression. You know, if you was to go through your life all happy, grateful, showing gratitude, filled with love, you wouldn't have any, now look at the other side. You've got a job and it is so stressful and it's doing your brain in. You're overthinking everything and it's causing you stresses and strains. Eventually that's going to affect you physically. You're going to be run down. You're going to be exhausted. You're going to be tired. You're going to be so drained of energy that you can barely function. And that's the difference. Love does not do that to you. You know stresses and strains and anxieties. They lead to things like heart attacks, physical situations going on in your body. It can lead to so much stress being placed upon you that it breaks down your body. That is the power of your thoughts. That is because of all the stresses and the strains that are placed on you that take you to the brink of almost total exhaustion. So pay attention. Let love be your guide. Open your heart up and see the truth. Follow the truth within yourself and know that it is true. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu, my brothers and sisters, and welcome back. You are listening to Radio Mac, broadcasting on 107.1 FM from the heart of Bradford, and I'm your host Asif Sabah in the studio. And today we're continuing our conversation about how amazing the Quran is and how beneficial it is for you by reading the Quran, especially when you read the translated version. The Quran that I use is the Allama Abdullah Yusuf Ali translation from Arabic to English, or for short, it's the Yusuf Ali translation. And it's a translation that I find it sings to my soul. I mean, I love that translation. And, I get so much benefit out of reading it and just thinking about the amazing wisdom that you find within the verses. And as you read the Quran, you will begin to see that there is so much wisdom that is hidden underneath the layers of the verses. And it's when you start to read it more than once, you keep reading it, you build up a foundation of wisdom within you. Then when you read the glorious Quran again, it adds to the wisdom you've already got buried within your soul, and you see things that you didn't see the previous time you read the Quran. And as you read it, as you uncover the inner wisdom that you find, this is when you start to get to know how amazing it is and how beautifully written, even the translated version, because we've spoken about inspiration. Now, what really happens when you read a translated version of the Quran? Well, inspiration comes in and fills in certain parts of your understanding to help you to see the bigger picture. Inspiration has never ever stopped coming to us. It's always there. There is the spirit of inspiration, and I read it last week, and let's have a look, see if I've got the verse again, because let me have a quick look here. So it's Surah 40 verse 15, and if you read that verse, so I'm going to read it in a second, it tells you, and this is from the Yusuf Ali translated version of the glorious Quran. So Surah 40 verse 15, and it says this: raised high above ranks or degrees, he is the Lord of the throne of authority. By his command doth he send the spirit of inspiration to any of his servants he pleases, that it may warn men of the day of mutual meeting. Well, every single person on this world receives inspiration, believe it or not. Every single person. And what is inspiration, you may ask yourself? Inspiration is that amazing little voice that tells you to do good. Even if it just comes in and says, you don't really want to be doing that. That is inspiration coming to you. It's guiding you. It's getting you to change the direction of your thinking to one that is better for you, to one that will give you and bring you that inner guidance. So inspiration is something that comes to every single soul in this world. Everybody. You can't leave anybody out. Even the animals are inspired in their own way. Allah speaks directly to them too, giving them the guidance, because they form communities just like the human community. They are on their own journey back to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Everything in this world is on its own journey. Everything, absolutely. Everything has an opposite. Everything physical has a spiritual opposite. And those words of wisdom that come to you, that give you that guidance, this is the guidance from your guardian angels, who have been especially assigned to you to help you on your journey, to give you that direction for the benefit of your own soul. For the benefit of your own soul. That is the beauty of that little voice of reason, that little voice of wisdom that comes into your mind. It's there as a guidance for you. And just like, the Surah 40 verse 15 says, raised high above ranks or degrees. In other words, your consciousness is connected to a degree in the heavens. And that is where you receive your inspiration from. Everybody has a spiritual self. And it is through your inner self, that divine connection, that you are connected to the hereafter. And so as you reside, or as you feel that inner connection, that is your inner connection to one of the many degrees of spiritual existence. Many of the stations, the Quran terms it as, or a vibration of energy, because you are a spiritual person. You are living in this physical reality, so you're not really human, but you are a soul. You are a spiritual person. It doesn't matter what ideas you have, all beings are spiritual. And your spiritual connection comes to you through your mind. And not all your thoughts are your own. You are inspired. Through the spirit of inspiration, it comes, it speaks directly to you as guidance on your pathway. Not guidance on everybody else's pathway, but guidance for you as an individual. One of the things that we end up doing is we look at the guidance we're receiving, and instead of applying it to ourselves, we start applying it to everybody else except ourselves. But we first must learn to apply the wisdom that we receive to ourselves. Because we're here on our own individual journey. What somebody else is doing over there, that is their business. That is a part of their journey. And it's only by following that wisdom that you find within your own self that you will receive true guidance. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu, my brothers and sisters, and welcome back. You are listening to Radio Mac, broadcasting on 107.1 FM from the heart of Bradford, and I'm your host Asif Saber in the studio. And today we're talking about the Quran again, just to get you excited about the wisdom contained within the verses of the Quran and how it can help you on your journey as you look into its wisdom and unravel the mysteries behind the verses. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu, my brothers and sisters, and that's a beautiful nasheed that is by Maud, and it's called The Rise, and that goes out to Brother Muhammad. May Allah bless him and keep him safe on his journey through this world. And so today we're talking about, again, inspiration, and how inspiration is behind the transformations that take place in your life, and that every person in this world, in this dunya, receives inspiration in one way or another. It doesn't matter how bad you think you are. You will have that little voice within your mind giving you the correct advice. And that is the job of your guardian angels. They will only suggest something to you. As in the Quran, it tells you this. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will not change the conditions of a man or a people until they change it with their own souls. And so because this is like a law of free will, we have the free will to do whatever it is that we wish to do in this world. We also have choice. And it's our free will and our choice that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has granted each and every soul in this world. But we will be held accountable for those choices that we have made. And this is why the angels aren't going to step in and change everything. We have to do it ourselves with our own souls. And they will put those little suggestions into your mind as guidance. But then it's up to us as a human race to make the necessary changes in our lives as we each come up struggling for ourselves. And this is the beauty of listening to that inner voice. And it goes beyond any intellectual understanding. And this is why the wisdom of the Quran is so important in our lives, and how it can help us, how it can be a guide to making the necessary changes that we need to each make in our lives. It's not about what everybody else is doing, or some people are doing over there and some people are doing over there. The Quran came down as guidance to each of us, each human being, and it's our own responsibility to take the Quran and read its wisdom and then apply it to our daily lives. So implementing the Quranic teachings requires a conscious effort and also self-reflection. It involves embodying the values such as compassion, patience, gratitude and forgiveness in our interactions with others, but also, most importantly, with ourselves. So the Quran also teaches us to strive for excellence in all that we do. It also encourages us to pursue knowledge and work diligently and serve our communities with integrity and with humility. So this is so important, and as we learn to live our lives according to the beautiful wisdom of the Quran, this is when humanity, not just Muslims, but the whole of humanity will move forward. The Quran came down for everybody, not just a specific set of people. It's a book for humanity, and its wisdom goes far beyond the everyday thoughts that we create regarding this physical world and the structural setup that we have created. So look to the Quran, unravel some of the amazing mysteries that you will find hidden below the surface of the verses. And we've talked about inspiration, and the word inspiration appears 45 times in the Quran. I keep telling you this just so it sticks in your mind, to give you a bit of an idea, just to get you to reflect and realize, okay, I may need to be paying a little more attention to some of the smaller words in the Quran that keep repeating themselves here and there, because those words, are so important. How many people give talks about inspiration, and inspiration coming it's not just from yourself, but there are outside forces that send you inspiration, like your guardian angels. They are right there. They have been specifically assigned to help you on your journey, and they will send you that inspiration. Inspiration hasn't stopped coming to this world. It is a part of our everyday life, and we wouldn't be able to survive a single day without inspiration behind some of the things that we do. And you'll notice that whenever you're going to do something that you shouldn't be doing, what happens? That little voice of wisdom is there, right by your side, saying, do you really think you should be doing that? Well, that is your guardian angel just slipping that little bit of information into your mind to give you an option to save your soul from tilting the balance too far over into the darkness. And you'll know just from the way you receive inspiration yourself, You're not the only one receiving inspiration. Every single person, doesn't matter if they're Muslims or they're not Muslims, every soul on this planet receives inspiration. You can go and ask the Christians or the Hindus or the whichever religion anybody follows. Do you receive thoughts and ideas that give you guidance? And they will say yes. Well, that is the common factor between all the religions of the world. Every soul on this planet receives divine inspiration from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And that is a fact. And that is an amazing thing when you think about it. Because every single person on this planet has those two guardian angels that are by their side, guiding them on their pathway back to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Now, whether you pay attention to that wisdom, that is another matter. But that wisdom will be sent to you to help you, to help us all. Allah helps those who help themselves. So as you listen to the wisdom of the Quran, allow it to grow within you. Allow it to develop you to become a better Muslim, a better person. And as you grow, you will grow in awareness and you will expand beyond the everyday thoughts. And as you come up struggling for yourself, as you raise your consciousness through the degrees of awareness, and there's not just heaven and hell and an in-between. There's not just three. Between Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and humanity, there are 70,000 veils of light. There are different colours associated to the veils of light. But we'll talk about those in another programme, but I'll give you an idea. Red is at the lower level. Orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo and violet. So what are these natural colours? Well, all you need to do is look to the rainbow in the sky. You will see that there are 7 colours associated to that rainbow. However, each of those colours contains they contain 10,000 different shades or veils, as it were, or degrees. So think of the colours of the rainbow, and then think about the degrees of conscious awareness. Now, if each degree contains, or each colour contains 10,000 different shades or veils or degrees, then each one is associated to a different heaven. And so this is just a basic understanding, but one day I'll do a program about this and we'll look at some interesting facts. But at the moment, I just want to bring your attention to it. Now, when you look at those degrees or veils, because there are 70 veils or degrees, each degree is a level of consciousness. Now, you'll find in the Quran it talks about stations. Reach the station of Abraham. It is talking about a spiritual state of awareness, a conscious state of awareness. So, as humans, we are all at different levels, different degrees of conscious awareness. And the more you listen to the little voice in your mind that's advising you to be the best version of yourself, you will ascend in consciousness. You will raise your consciousness to a higher degree where new thoughts, new ideas, new understandings will be more acceptable to your conscious state of mind. And this is where you learn, and as you learn these new things, when you read the Quran, you will see so many different amazing things within the verses that you didn't see before. The Quran is an amazing book. It's a book so filled with wisdom. And one thing I would say, use your own common sense when you're reading the Quran, because you will receive inspiration to give you that guidance, even if it's just clearing some of the base matter, the negative energy or the negative harmful thoughts we think, even if it's just removing or subduing those or allowing you to work on those thoughts that just cleanse your soul, purify your soul, and bring in some kind of healing to bring your soul back into line with the truth. You will receive just what you need to help you on your journey. And it will be this guidance that you will see within the verses of the Quran and feel as inspiration in your mind or even around you. You will feel it through your feelings, because that wisdom, that understanding, your conscious connection will tell you it is right for you. So allow yourselves to ascend in consciousness.